Hello and welcome to the Clashing of Steel. And today we have a review on Arminius. Arminius is a barbarian commander. I personally use him as a cavalry commander because his skills seem to pay out most as the cavalry. I'll get back on that, but for now let's jump into the Arminius skills. First skill is the momentum. It gives you speed and impact damage. If upgraded, it can also give you the ground effect modifier. Usually I will try to keep it active as long as possible, because once you stop moving, it deactivates rather fast, in a matter of few seconds. This skill, in my opinion, is your bread and butter. You go in fast, you get out fast, you do what you have to. For the second skill, he has the Frenzy. It gives you a huge damage boost and at the same time lowering your defense. It has some upgrades to increase defense, to increase damage and so on. Also the ground effect modifier. And for the tier 5 skill we have the Infiltration. Its upgrades also involve speed, impact bonus, view range and also the ground effect modifier. In short, this skill makes you look as if you were allies of your opponents. They will see you with a blue name as if you were an ally, but once they move their cursor over you, it will have a red glow, and that is how they can find out that you are on the opposing team. And once you take damage, it deactivates. And who doesn't know what the ground effect modifier is? It reduces the negative effect of the current terrain you are standing on. Anyways, let's head into the game. First thing you always see me doing is activating my momentum. Since I also have the speed, I will try to send one unit to the watchtower. As I said before, I prefer to play Arminius as cavalry based commander. You can play him with infantry, but in overall I feel that he's a bit too much of a class cannon. He can be excellent at flanking with Frenzy, but when going head on, even in the forest, he might be defeated rather easily. Frenzy is an excellent skill, don't get me wrong, but it lowers your defense, and since the barbarians actually don't have that much defense, it weakens already weak units. So being fast and being Arminius, I took the watchtower. I even did some damage at disengaging Greece cavalry, and right now I am giving some spotting support. Up to tier 5, actually the barbarian cavalry can be quite good at flanking because of the mount kick, but from tier 6 to tier 9 you won't have any mount kick. You'll get it back on tier 10, but until that you have to rely on your charges, your flanking, your frenzy and so on. With tier 6 and tier 9 you actually have another problem. Your units won't have shields, they are spear cavalry. Although they do more impact damage, they are still quite easy target for opposing archers. So that is one of the biggest reasons I will be stacking my cavalry units. So the main things with playing Arminius with cavalry is that you need to be patient. You can't go full offensive because you won't stand long in melee, you won't stand long against most other cavalry. You need to wait for the right moment to strike. You don't always have to engage. You can scout for a team, you can poke the enemy, you can try and be as useful as you can. Right now actually I'm seeing a bit of an opening. My team's cavalry charged in. I think they went through the pikemen, and I'm going in for the archers as best I can. I will charge in, do a bit of damage, activate my frenzy and pull out. I did a little bit of damage, I got a bit damage as well from the opposing cavalry, but because I'm playing Arminius I can now outrun him. He can't catch me, he can't toy with me. If anything, I can mess with him. With cavalry, when you're after archers, you don't have to stay engaged for too long. You just do your poke, you do some damage and you pull back out. You pop frenzy to kill as many archers as you can, and so. Your main focus with Arminius and cavalry should be any type of ranged units. Right now I actually see another interesting opening. These are one tier lower Greece cavalry. Although they are strong, but since I'm behind them and I can catch up with them, I can harass them. They could not use the charge to charge into the archers because they used the dash, which silenced all of their skills. And now, because I'm faster than him, I can chase him down and do some damage. This is what the Arminius can do as well. He can chase down opponents that are trying to disengage, because he's definitely one of the fastest. There are no other units that can outrun Arminius. I am already with the pretty fast cavalry. First of all, the barbarians don't use formation, which means they will move rather rapidly around all corners, around all areas. If they would have been at the same tier with me, the Greece cavalry, I probably would have not gone in so heavily, because the Greece cavalry charge can destroy me. I actually want to see what these cavalries are doing. I don't want to go in too heavily, but then again I don't want to stay out for too long, because I need to do something. So right now one of my goals is to cover my fighting units that are fighting in that huge pile back there. I need to make sure that any other cavalry isn't going in for flank, and as I see them I charge into them. But unfortunately they charge into me as well. And since they are Greek cavalry, they have really huge impact. So we are flanking them rather fast, we are taking care of them. But there's another interesting situation rising. The catapult is shooting at us and the opposing cavalry is coming in. There is no point for us to do a struggle match. So at first they're charging in. They seem to be Greece cavalry as well, if I'm correct. So I'm seeing an opening. I need to activate my momentum, I need to run around this valley and come in from behind them with a little bit of surprise. Usually I would not suggest flanking, but against Greece cavalry, well, it can pay off. And you can see they're already running, so practically all of my flanking is done. The archers can harass them a bit, and they probably won't go for the archers as well. There can often be a problem with Arminius, especially when playing cavalry, to find a good moment where you can go for the archers or flank the opponents or something. It can be really hard to find one of these, seeing as you are one of the weaker cavalries. You have the speed and mobility, but not enough endurance to stay alive in a long fight. Usually when playing cavalries, I would still suggest spreading a bit out, coming in from different corners to flank your opponents. But with these spear cavalry, the charge impact seems to be the best, so I'm going for it and stacking my units inside each other. If they would be shielded, I would probably spread them a bit more out and come in from different directions. Another problem is when you're facing a lot of spearmen. You can't go through them because the cavalry will always lose a fight to spearmen and pikemen. But you can sometimes charge in from the rear of the pikemen or spearmen if they're in phalanx to do massive damage. Because if they're in phalanx, their main defense direction is front and the rear is highly undefended. So the momentum and frenzy are quite straightforward skills. But infiltration can be a bit hard to use correctly. The best way you can use it is when you find a way through the opponent's line. Because of your speed, it should not be too hard to find, unless all the opponents are in a straight line just blocking you. Or in an area you're trying to push through has a lot of opponents facing you, where you have to disengage and find another way. I'm not saying it is too easy, but if you poke enough, you should probably find a way to go around the opponents. And when you go around them, you are in their backyard. And using the infiltration, you can sneak around and perhaps even surprise the opponent's range units, catapults, archers or so. If you don't know exactly how to use it, or you find it hard to use it properly, you can activate it right before a charge to get extra impact damage. Or if you think that you need more speed, you can activate it right away, but it has quite a long cooldown. So using it to hunt down opposing archers behind the enemy's lines might pay out a bit more. Usually when I play Arminius, I don't go full offense, I don't rush into enemy territory, I don't use infiltration right away. If I have a chance, I will usually send out one unit to scout, just to see what's going on. Perhaps take the tower to see everything that's surrounding me. And when there are first engagements, I look for an opening to usually hunt down archers or catapults. Any type of ranged units that can cause a lot of trouble for my team. I personally find it really hard to play Arminius really well, because you need to have a bit of luck, you need to have a bit of teamwork, and you need to find a great opening. There are some matches that I have lost, because I just haven't found the opening, or the enemy has defended their archers or other ranged units rather well. You just need a bit of luck, you just can't go full skill. You just need to hope that opponents make mistakes. And one of the main things I said before, you don't need to stay engaged. You can just harass the enemy. Go in, pull back out, do as much damage as you can, harass the archers, whatever you see as the best course of action. As I said, personally I think Arminius is probably one of the hardest commanders to play. He is weak in defense, but can scout, can poke, can outrun most opponents. You can even spot for the catapults if you want to. Or you can just run around all opponents and go for the enemy base capture. Try to use the mobility to your advantage. Flank if possible, definitely don't go head on into your opponents. You won't be able to handle most of them. As for the consumables, I personally prefer charge impact to destroy archers faster with my charges. But you can also go for defense or offense if you like to. But probably the biggest thing you still need with Arminius is the patience. You don't have to engage right away, you can just poke around the opponent to find an opening and use it when you see there is a chance. These are just the ways that I play and they seem to pay out the most. So this was the review on Arminius. He is highly mobile and lacks defense. You need a lot of patience and discipline to play him very well. Anyways, don't forget to subscribe and thanks for watching.